I didn't think my son hated me. Not really. Not until the Tuesday he walked into my kitchen holding a manila folder like it was a birthday present. Dad, we need to talk. I was eating toast, dry wheat toast, because my wife Patricia told me my cholesterol was up again. She was at work, I was retired. That's what you do when you're 61 and you spent 37 years inspecting commercial properties for structural compliance. You eat dry toast and you wait for your wife to come home so dinner doesn't taste like cardboard. Sure, I said. Coffee? No, sit down. I was already sitting, but I stayed sitting. He pulled out the chair across from me, the one that squeaks, and he didn't sit so much as land in it. My son is a big man. 6'2", maybe 215. I'm 5'9" on a good day. He got his mother's height and his grandfather's shoulders. He also got something else from somebody, but I didn't know what it was yet. He slid the folder across the table. What's this? I asked. Open it. I opened it. Mortgage documents. A lot of them. I'm good with documents. I spent 4 decades reading contracts and liability clauses and engineering reports that could bury a city if you missed a comma. These were neat, professional, the kind you get from a bank that has marble floors. You bought a house, I said. We closed escrow last week. I looked up. His face was blank. Not happy, not nervous. Just blank. That should have been my first clue. Congratulations, I said. It's in Bellevue Estates. 4-bed, 3.5 bath, custom build. We got the corner lot. Bellevue Estates. That's where the doctors live, and the lawyers, and the people who lease German cars they can't afford. My son sells software to commercial real estate companies. He makes good money, not that kind of money. How much? I asked. 1.2. I put the toast down. Million? Obviously. That's a lot of house. It's what Emily wanted. Emily, his wife, daughter-in-law. The woman who smiles with her mouth but not with her eyes. I've known her 6 years. I've never seen her laugh at anything that wasn't mean. Okay, I said. So why are you telling me? He didn't answer right away. He looked at the folder, then at me, then at the folder again. You need to co-sign. I heard him. I know I heard him. But my brain did that thing where it just stops processing and loops back. Co-sign. The mortgage. We need a guarantor. The bank requires it. You already bought the house. We closed escrow. The mortgage finalizes in 10 days. I flipped through the pages. Purchase agreement. Escrow closing statement. Preliminary title report. And there, stapled at the back, a blank guarantor agreement with a line for my signature. You bought a house, I said slowly, before securing the financing. We secured the financing. We just need your signature. To guarantee a loan you already spent. It's standard procedure. It absolutely was not standard procedure. I've reviewed enough commercial property deals to know that banks don't hand you keys and then ask for a co-signer after the fact. But I didn't say that. Not yet. What's the monthly payment? I asked. $6,800. Can you afford that? We can afford it. Then why do you need a guarantor? His jaw tightened. Just a little, just enough. Because the bank wants one. Which bank? Does it matter? It does if you're asking me to guarantee $1 million loan. He sighed. The kind of sigh that means he thinks I'm being difficult. Commonwealth Federal. I knew Commonwealth. They financed half the office parks I used to inspect. They don't do residential mortgages. They certainly don't require guarantors on loans for people with good credit and stable income. You're lying, I said. I didn't mean to say it. It just came out. And the second it did, I saw something flicker across his face. Not anger, not guilt, something colder. I'm not lying. Then show me the approval letter. I don't have it with me? Then I can't sign. He stood up. The chair squeaked again. He was breathing harder now, not loud, just harder. Dad, this isn't a negotiation. You're right, it's not, because I'm not signing. You have to. I don't have to do anything. He stepped closer. Not threatening, not yet, just closer. You have the money, he said. You sold the rental property. You've been retired for 3 years. You and Mom don't spend anything. You're just sitting on it. That's our retirement. You don't need that much. You've got Social Security. You've got your pension. You don't even travel. That's not the point. Then what is the point? His voice went up. Just a little, just enough. The point is, you bought a house you can't afford, and now you want me to guarantee the loan without even showing me the terms. I'm your son. I know. Emily and I are starting our life. We need help. That's what family does. They help each other. I looked at him. Really looked at him. And I didn't recognize him. I don't mean physically. I mean I looked at this man standing in my kitchen. In my house. Demanding that I risk my retirement on a loan I didn't approve, and I couldn't find my son anywhere in there. "No," I said. He blinked. "What?" "No, I'm not signing." "You're serious?" "Completely." He picked up the folder, slowly, carefully, like he was giving me one last chance to change my mind. "You're going to regret this," he said. "Maybe." He walked out. He didn't slam the door. That would have been easier. He just closed it, quietly, the way you close the door on something you're done with. I sat there for a long time. The toast got cold. I didn't eat it. I just sat there looking at the spot where the folder had been, and I thought about how fast things can change. Patricia came home at 6. She works part-time at a medical billing office. It keeps her busy, keeps her sane. She walked in with groceries, and I told her what happened. She didn't say anything at first. She just put the milk in the fridge and the bread in the pantry and the eggs in their little tray. Then she turned around. "He's going to tell Emily," she said. "I know." "Emily's going to make this ugly." "I know." She sat down across from me, same chair, same squeak. "You did the right thing," she said. "Doesn't feel like it." "It never does." We ate chicken and rice for dinner. Patricia made it with too much garlic because she knows I like it that way. We didn't talk about it again. We watched a nature documentary about penguins. They mate for life, apparently. I wondered if penguins ever ask their parents to co-sign mortgages. My phone rang at 9:30. I didn't recognize the number. I answered anyway. "Mr. Brennan?" "Yes. This is Emily. We need to talk." I should have hung up. I didn't. "Okay. I can't believe you're doing this to us." "I'm not doing anything to you. You're ruining our lives." "I'm not signing a loan." "You have the money. You're just being selfish." Selfish. That word sat in my chest like a stone. "Emily, I'm not having this conversation. You're really going to let your son lose his house because you're too greedy to help?" "I didn't know he had a house to lose." She hung up. Patricia was standing in the doorway. She'd heard the whole thing. "They're not going to stop," she said. "I know." "You need to be ready for that." I nodded, but I wasn't ready. Not even close. The next morning, my phone lit up with messages. Group text, family group text. The kind you can't leave without everyone knowing you left. Emily had sent a message at 6 a.m. "Just want everyone to know that some people care more about money than family. Praying for those who've forgotten what it means to sacrifice." My sister responded first. "What's going on?" Then my brother. "Context?" Then my cousin Janet, who I haven't spoken to in 5 years. "This sounds serious." Emily replied, "Ask Michael's dad, if he even cares enough to explain." Michael. My son. She used his name like a weapon. I didn't respond. Patricia told me not to. She said anything I wrote would be used against me. She was right. By noon, I had 12 missed calls. By 3, I had voicemails from people I didn't know cared about my family drama. By dinner, I had a text from my son. "You've made your choice. Don't expect us at Thanksgiving." It was April. That's when I knew this wasn't about a mortgage. This was about something else, something deeper, something that had been building for a long time, and I'd been too stupid or too tired to see it. I called my son. He didn't answer. I called again. Still nothing. I left a voicemail. "Michael, we need to talk. Face to face, not like this." He didn't call back. 3 days later, I got a letter. Certified mail. The kind you have to sign for. Patricia brought it in from the mailbox and handed it to me without saying anything. I opened it at the kitchen table. Same toast. Same feeling that the world was tilting sideways. It was a lawsuit. Michael Brennan and Emily Brennan versus Richard Brennan. Breach of oral contract. Promissory estoppel. Demand for specific performance. They were suing me for $1 million. I read it twice, then I read it again. The language was clean, professional, the kind of lawsuit you file when you're serious, when you've hired a lawyer who knows what they're doing. The claim was simple. They alleged that I had verbally agreed to provide financial support for their home purchase, that I had made promises, specific promises, and that they had relied on those promises to their detriment. It was a lie, every word of it. But it was a well-constructed lie. Patricia read it over my shoulder. "They're actually doing this," she said. "Yeah." "What do we do?" "I don't know yet." But that wasn't true. I did know. I just didn't want to say it out loud. I knew I needed a lawyer. I knew this was going to cost money. I knew my son and his wife were willing to destroy me to get what they wanted, and I knew, somewhere deep in the part of my brain that used to spot structural defects in concrete foundations, that they'd made a mistake. I just didn't know what it was yet. I spent that night reading the lawsuit over and over. Patricia went to bed. I stayed up. I made notes. I highlighted sections. I cross-referenced dates. I did what I used to do when I found a crack in a load-bearing wall and needed to trace it back to the source. By 3 a.m., I'd found something. The lawsuit claimed I'd made promises in February. Specific promises. Express verbal assurances of financial support provided on or around February 15th. But Michael didn't tell me about the house until April. April 9th, a Tuesday, the day with the toast. If I'd made promises in February, why did he wait 2 months to tell me? Why did he close escrow without my signature? Why did he present the guarantor agreement like it was an afterthought? I pulled out my phone and scrolled back through my messages. February 15th. There. A text from Michael. Lunch next week? We'd met for lunch. February 21st, a Wednesday, a diner near his office. He'd talked about work, about Emily's new job, about wanting to move out of their apartment, normal conversation. He never asked me for money, never mentioned a house, never made any kind of promise. I had the receipt. I'm old-fashioned. I keep receipts. It was in my filing cabinet, buried in a folder marked Miscellaneous 2024. $12.37. Chicken sandwich and coffee, dated, time-stamped. It wasn't much, but it was something. I went to bed at 4. Patricia was awake. She'd been waiting. Did you find anything? She asked. Maybe. Good. She rolled over. I lay there in the dark, listening to her breathe, and I thought about how easy it would be to just give them the money. Sign the paper, make this go away, keep the peace. But I couldn't. Not because I didn't love my son, but because I'd spent my entire career making sure buildings didn't fall down. And if you let the foundation crack, the whole structure collapses. Every time, no exceptions. This was my foundation, and it was cracking, and I was the only one who could fix it. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Her name was Virginia Pryor. She came recommended. 30 years of civil litigation. Tough, smart, expensive. We met in her office. Downtown, 20th floor, windows overlooking the city. She wore a gray suit and reading glasses that hung on a chain around her neck. She looked like someone's grandmother. She talked like a prosecutor. Tell me everything, she said. I told her. The folder, the mortgage, the guarantor agreement, the phone call, the group text, the lawsuit. I showed her the documents. She read them carefully. She didn't interrupt. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. They're betting you'll settle, she said. Will I? Not if you don't want to. I don't? She smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It was the kind of smile a predator makes before it strikes. Then we're going to have some fun. Virginia Pryor didn't waste time. She filed our response to the lawsuit within a week. I'd never seen anything like it. 23 pages of dense legal argument, every sentence a small explosion. She didn't just deny their claims, she dismantled them. Piece by piece, line by line, she requested documentation. All of it. Every conversation, every text message, every email, bank statements, credit reports, loan applications. She wanted proof of the promises they claimed I'd made, proof of their reliance, proof of their damages. Discovery, she called it. I called it war. They're going to fight this, she said during our second meeting. They've hired Richard Keller. He's aggressive, expensive. He doesn't take cases he thinks he'll lose. So he thinks they'll win? He thinks they'll get a settlement. That's different. What do you think? She adjusted her glasses and looked at me over the frames. I think your son is lying. I think his wife is coaching him. And I think they believe you'll cave before this gets to trial. Will it get to trial? That depends on what we find in discovery. What we found was interesting. The mortgage wasn't from Commonwealth Federal. It was from a smaller regional bank called Trust Point Lending, the kind of bank that does high-risk loans for people who can't qualify anywhere else, the kind of bank that charges 6% interest when the market rate is 4%. The loan approval was dated March 3rd, 3 weeks after the alleged promises I'd supposedly made, but the purchase agreement was dated February 18th, 3 days after the promises, which meant they'd made an offer on the house before they had financing, before they had approval, before they had any idea if they could actually afford it, and they'd waived the financing contingency. I didn't catch that at first. Virginia did. She highlighted it in yellow and slid the document across her desk. Do you know what this means? She asked. They couldn't back out if the loan fell through. Correct. They were obligated to buy the house whether they had the money or not, That's insane. That's desperation. She pulled out another document. The earnest money deposit receipt. $25,000, dated February 18th, same day as the offer. Where did they get $25,000? She asked. I didn't know. I said so. Find out, she said. I asked Patricia. She didn't know either. We'd never given them that kind of money. We'd given them $500 for Christmas last year. We'd bought them a toaster for their wedding. We weren't the kind of parents who wrote big checks. So where did it come from? I started digging. Not legally, not officially. Just looking. I checked Facebook, Instagram, the digital breadcrumbs people leave when they're not thinking about who's watching. Emily had posted a picture on February 10th, her and Michael at a restaurant. High-end place, steaks that cost more than my monthly utilities. The caption read, "Celebrating big news." The comments were enthusiastic. Friends asking what the news was, Emily responding with wine glass emojis and cryptic hints. You'll see soon enough. February 10th, a week before the alleged promises. 5 days before they made an offer on the house. I screenshotted everything, sent it to Virginia, she added it to the file. Michael's LinkedIn had updated his job title in January, Senior Account Executive to Regional Sales Director. Bigger title. I wondered if it came with bigger money. Virginia requested his employment records. His lawyer objected. The judge ordered them produced. His salary was $93,000. Not bad, but not enough for a $6,800 mortgage and the lifestyle Emily posted about online, the leased BMW, the designer handbags, the weekends in wine country. Emily didn't work. She'd quit her job in marketing 6 months after they got married. Michael said it was so she could focus on starting a family. Patricia said it was because Emily didn't like being told what to do. We subpoenaed their bank records. Richard Keller fought it, said it was invasive, irrelevant, harassment. The judge disagreed. The records came through. March had been expensive. $7,000 to a furniture store, $4,000 to a landscaping company, $2,200 to a home theater installer, another $3,000 to something called Premier Interior Design Consultation. They'd spent over $16,000 furnishing a house they didn't technically own yet, a house they couldn't afford, a house they'd somehow convinced themselves I was going to pay for. They were counting on you, Virginia said. They built their entire plan around the assumption you'd sign that paper. But I never said I would. Doesn't matter. They believed it, or they wanted to believe it, or they needed to believe it. People convince themselves of a lot when the alternative is admitting they screwed up. The deposition schedule came through in May. Michael first. Then Emily. Then me. Virginia prepared me for 3 hours. They're going to try to rattle you, she said. Keller's good at that. He'll imply you're a bad father, that you're selfish, that you broke a promise. Don't react. Don't get defensive. Just answer the question. What if he asks about the lunch? Tell the truth. You had lunch. You talked about normal things. He never asked for money. You never offered. Stick to facts. What if he twists it? Let him. That's what closing arguments are for. Michael's deposition was on a Tuesday. I wasn't allowed to attend. Virginia went alone. She came back 4 hours later looking satisfied. He's nervous, she said. How do you know? He changed his story 3 times. Small changes, but changes. He said you promised to help in February. Then he said it was more of an implication. Then he said it was an understanding. Those are 3 different things. Which one is he going with? He doesn't know yet. That's the problem. Emily's deposition was worse. For them, I mean. She was confident. Too confident. She had an answer for everything. She remembered conversations I knew never happened. She quoted things I'd never said. She cried twice. Virginia didn't buy it. She's been rehearsing, Virginia told me afterward. Everything she said sounded scripted, like she'd practiced it in front of a mirror. Is that bad for them? Very. Juries don't like rehearsed witnesses. They smell it. This is going to a jury? Maybe. Depends on what your son does next. What he did next was double down. Keller filed an amended complaint, added new claims, intentional infliction of emotional distress, fraud, elder financial abuse. That last one stung. I was 61. Not elderly, not by a long shot. But in California, anyone over 65 can be considered an elder for legal purposes. And if you're 61 and the plaintiff really needs a hammer, they'll round up. Virginia filed a motion to dismiss the new claims, called them frivolous, unsupported, a desperate attempt to manufacture leverage. The hearing was in June. I attended. First time I'd seen Michael since April. Since the toast. He sat on the other side of the courtroom with Emily and Richard Keller. He didn't look at me, not once. Emily did. I stared back. I didn't smile. I didn't frown. I just looked at her until she looked away. The judge was a woman named Helen Ortega, late 50s. Sharp eyes. No patience for bullshit. She read Keller's motion, then Virginia's response. Then she looked at Keller. "Counsel, this is embarrassing." Keller stood. "Your Honor, we believe. I don't care what you believe. I care about what you can prove, and nothing in this amended complaint suggests fraud or elder abuse. Motion to dismiss granted." She banged the gavel. It was over in 4 minutes. Keller tried to regroup. "Your Honor, if we could just—" "No, sit down." He sat. We left. Virginia didn't gloat, and she just walked to the parking garage and unlocked her car. "They're going to offer a settlement now," she said. "How much?" "Something insulting. 50,000, maybe 75. They'll frame it as a compromise. And if I say no, then we go to trial, and they lose." The offer came 3 days later. $70,000. Paid over 5 years, in exchange for dismissal with prejudice and a mutual non-disparagement agreement. I read it twice. Then I called Virginia. "Tell them no," I said. "You're sure?" "Completely." She paused. "Richard, they're not going to offer more. This is it. If you reject this, we're going to trial. That's expensive, stressful, ugly. You'll have to testify. So will Patricia. They'll drag your whole life into the record." "I know. And you're still saying no?" "I'm saying no." She was quiet for a moment. Then, "Good. I was hoping you'd say that." We rejected the settlement. Keller called Virginia and yelled at her for 20 minutes. She put him on speaker so I could hear. He called me unreasonable, vindictive, a bad father. She waited until he ran out of steam and then said, "See you in court," and hung up. Trial was set for September. In the meantime, life got weirder. Someone started a Facebook group called Justice for Michael and Emily. It had 47 members. Most of them were Emily's friends. Some were relatives I barely knew. They posted articles about elder financial abuse, shared stories about greedy parents who refused to help their children, tagged me in comments I never read. Patricia wanted me to shut it down, report it. I told her to leave it alone. "Why?" she asked. "Because juries can see Facebook too." She thought about that. Then she smiled. My brother called in July. He'd seen the lawsuit, heard about the settlement offer. He wanted to know my side. I told him. Everything. The folder, the mortgage, the timeline, the lies. He listened, didn't interrupt. When I finished, he said, "You're doing the right thing." Doesn't feel like it. It never does. Same thing Patricia had said. I wondered if that's something you learn when you get old, that doing the right thing always feels like a mistake. August was quiet. Too quiet. Virginia said that was normal. The calm before the storm. Both sides preparing, reviewing documents, lining up witnesses, sharpening knives. I spent a lot of time thinking about Michael, about who he used to be, about the kid who used to help me fix the fence, who used to ask me questions about how buildings stayed standing, who used to laugh at my terrible jokes. That kid was gone. I didn't know when he'd left. I didn't know if he was coming back. I just knew that the man suing me wasn't my son, not the one I remembered. Patricia and I drove past the house in Bellevue Estates one Saturday. I don't know why. Morbid curiosity, maybe. It was beautiful. Custom stone facade, 3-car garage, professionally landscaped yard, the kind of house you see in magazines. It looked empty, not abandoned, just empty, like nobody actually lived there, like it was a showroom. "They can't afford this," Patricia said. "I know. They're going to lose it. I know." She didn't say anything else. We drove home in silence. The week before trial, Virginia called me into her office. She had a stack of documents on her desk, new documents, fresh from discovery. "I found something," she said. "What?" She slid a paper across the desk. It was a loan application, Michael's loan application, the one he'd submitted to Trust Point Lending. Under source of down payment, he'd written, "Family gift." Under gift provider, he'd written my name. "He told the bank you were giving them money," Virginia said, "but I never agreed to that." "I know, that's the problem, for him." She pulled out another document, a gift letter, standard form. It stated that I, Richard Brennan, was providing Michael and Emily with $100,000 as a gift, that it did not need to be repaid, that it was given freely and without expectation of return. It was dated February 21st, the day we had lunch. At the bottom was a signature line, my signature, forged badly. The kind of forgery you do when you are panicking and you need a document to exist and you assume nobody will actually check. I stared at it for a long time. This is fraud, I said. Yes. Bank fraud? Yes. He lied to the bank? Yes. I looked up at her. She was smiling. The predator smile. Can we use this? I asked. Oh, we're absolutely using this. The courthouse had a back exit that most people didn't know about. Virginia suggested we use it. Avoid the cameras. Avoid the questions. Just leave quietly and let the legal system handle the rest. Patricia agreed. I didn't. I'm going out the front, I said. Why? Virginia asked. Because I didn't do anything wrong. She looked at me for a moment. Then she nodded. We walked through the main hallway, past the metal detectors, past the security guards, past the courtrooms where other people were having other disasters. The marble floor echoed with footsteps. Everything felt too loud. Emily was standing outside, alone, waiting by a concrete pillar near the handicap ramp. She saw me and started walking over, fast, angry. Patricia stepped forward, but I put my hand on her arm. Let her talk, I said. Emily stopped 2 feet away. Her face was red. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. She looked like she'd aged 10 years in 3 hours. You destroyed us, she said. No, Michael did that. He did what he had to do. We needed help. You refused. I refused to guarantee a loan for a house I never agreed to. You're his father. I know. And you just threw him away. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I saw exactly what she was. A woman who'd married a man she thought was successful, who'd pushed him to buy things he couldn't afford, who'd convinced herself that his parents owed her something simply because she existed. I didn't throw him away, I said. I just didn't catch him when he jumped. That's the same thing. No, it's not. She stepped closer. Her hands were shaking. He's going to lose everything because of you, the house, his job, maybe his freedom, and you don't even care. I care, just not the way you want me to. What does that mean? It means I care about the truth. And the truth is, Michael made bad choices. You encouraged those choices. And when those choices caught up to you, you tried to make them my problem. That's not love. That's manipulation. She slapped me. Not hard. Not enough to hurt. Just enough to make a point. Patricia gasped. Virginia stepped forward. But I didn't move. Feel better? I asked. Emily's face crumpled. She started crying again. Big, ugly sobs. The kind you can't fake. We're going to lose the house, she said. Probably. Michael's firm is talking about letting him go. I'm not surprised. He might go to jail. That's up to the DA. You could drop the charges. I stared at her. I didn't press charges. The judge referred it. That's not my decision. You could talk to them. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding. He forged my signature. He was desperate. I know, that's the problem. She wiped her face with the back of her hand, smeared the mascara worse. I thought you loved him, she said quietly. I do. Then how can you do this to him? I'm not doing anything to him. He did this to himself. I just didn't stop it. She looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language, like the concept of consequences was something she'd never encountered before. Maybe she hadn't. Maybe her whole life had been people smoothing things over, fixing things, making problems disappear. Not this time. I hate you, she said. I know. She walked away, didn't look back, just walked to the parking garage and disappeared into the shadows. Patricia touched my arm. Are you okay? Yeah. That was hard. It needed to happen. Virginia was watching me carefully. You handled that well. Did I? Most people would have yelled or walked away. You just stood there and let her be angry. She has a right to be angry. She's losing everything. She made her choices. So did I. We walked to the parking garage. My car was on the 3rd level. An old Honda Accord. 20 years old, scratched paint. The air conditioning didn't work. Patricia had been asking me to replace it for years. I kept saying I would, but I never did. I liked that car. It worked. It was reliable. It didn't pretend to be something it wasn't. We drove home in silence. Patricia kept looking at me. I could feel her watching, worrying. Say it, I said finally. Say what? Whatever you're thinking. She was quiet for a moment. Then, are you sure you're okay with this? What do you mean? With how it ended? With Michael? With everything? I don't know. Are you? I asked you first. I thought about it. Tried to find an honest answer. I'm not happy, I said, but I'm not unhappy either. I'm just relieved that it's over, that I don't have to wonder anymore. Wonder what? If he'd actually do it, sue me, lie about me, forge my name, part of me kept thinking he'd stop, that he'd realize how crazy it was and just stop. But he didn't. No, he didn't. And now I know he's capable of that. He was always capable of it. I just didn't want to see it. She reached over and squeezed my hand. You did the right thing, she said. You keep saying that. Because it's true. Then why does it feel so awful? Because doing the right thing usually does. We got home at 3. The house was quiet, empty. I made coffee. Patricia sat at the kitchen table and read the newspaper. Normal things. We were trying very hard to be normal. My phone buzzed, a text from my brother. Heard you won. Proud of you. I didn't respond. I didn't know what to say. Winning didn't feel like winning. It felt like surviving. Another text. My sister this time. Michael called me. He's very upset. I didn't respond to that one either. Then another. A number I didn't recognize. You're a piece of shit. Hope you're happy. I blocked the number. Patricia looked up from the newspaper. Who's texting you? People who think they know what happened. Are you going to respond? No. Good. The rest of the day was quiet. We watched TV, made dinner, cleaned the kitchen, went to bed early. Normal things. Except nothing felt normal. Everything felt like we were pretending, like we were actors in a play about a normal life. I didn't sleep well. I kept thinking about Michael, about the way he'd looked in the courtroom when the verdict came down. Not angry, not sad, just empty. Like someone had scooped out everything inside him and left a shell. I wondered if that's what I looked like too. Or the next morning I got a call from Virginia. The DA's office wants to meet with you, she said. Why? They're considering charges against Michael. They want to hear your version of events. When? Tomorrow, 10 a.m. I'll go with you. The DA's office was in the same building as the courthouse. Different floor, same marble, same fluorescent lights, same feeling that you were in a place where bad things happened to people who made bad choices. The prosecutor was a woman named Lisa Harding, late 30s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. She shook my hand and gestured to a chair. Thank you for coming, Mr. Brennan. Call me Richard. Richard, I've reviewed the case. The forged gift letter, the perjury, the fraud. It's pretty clear-cut. Okay. I want to know what you want. I blinked. What I want. Yes. Do you want us to prosecute, press charges, seek jail time, or do you want us to let it go? I looked at Virginia. She didn't say anything. This was my call. What are my options? I asked. If we prosecute, Michael's looking at felony fraud. That's 1 to 3 years, plus restitution, plus probation. It'll destroy his career, his life, everything. And if you don't prosecute? Then he walks away. No criminal record, just the civil judgment. I sat back, thought about it. What do you think I should do? I asked. Lisa folded her hands on the desk. Honestly, I think you should let us prosecute. He committed a crime, multiple crimes, and he did it deliberately. People need to face consequences. And what if I don't want that? Then he doesn't face consequences. It's your signature he forged, your name he used. You're the victim. It's your call. Victim. That word again. I didn't feel like a victim. I felt like someone who'd been forced to choose between bad options and worse options. Can I think about it? I asked. Of course. Take your time. Just let me know by the end of the week. We left. Virginia walked me to my car. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know. Do you want my advice? Not really, she smiled. I'm going to give it anyway. Let them prosecute. Michael needs to understand that actions have consequences. If he walks away from this, he'll do it again. Maybe not to you, but to someone. You think so? I know so. I've seen it 100 times. People who get away with fraud don't stop. They just get better at it. What if he goes to jail? Then he goes to jail. That's what jail is for. I drove home. Thought about it the whole way. Patricia was in the garden when I got back. She was planting tulips. She loved tulips. said they were optimistic flowers. They bloomed every spring no matter what happened in winter. I told her about the DA's office, about the choice. She didn't answer right away. She just kept planting, digging little holes, placing bulbs, covering them with dirt. "What do you think?" I asked. "I think you already know what you're going to do." "Do I?" "Yes." "What am I going to do?" She looked up at me. Her hands were dirty. Her knees were muddy. She looked happy, the way she used to look before all this started. "You're going to let them prosecute," she said. "How do you know?" "Because you're not the kind of man who lets people get away with things just because they're family. You never have been." "Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" "It's just a thing." I sat down on the porch steps, watched her plant. The sun was warm. The air smelled like dirt and grass and the faint sweetness of the roses growing along the fence. "He's going to hate me forever," I said. "He already does." "This will make it worse." "Probably." "What if I'm wrong?" "Then you're wrong, but at least you'll know you tried to do the right thing." I called Lisa Harding that afternoon. "Prosecute," I said. "Are you sure?" "No, but do it anyway." "Understood. We'll move forward. I'll keep you updated." She hung up. I sat there for a long time, staring at the phone, wondering if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life, or the only choice I could live with. The charges were filed 2 weeks later: felony fraud, perjury, forgery. The arraignment was set for October. I didn't attend. Virginia said I didn't have to. It was a criminal matter now, the state versus Michael Brennan. I wasn't part of it anymore. I was just a witness, a name in a file. Michael pleaded not guilty. His new lawyer, a public defender named Karen Wu, argued that the forgery was a mistake, a misunderstanding, that Michael had believed his father had authorized the letter, that it was a civil dispute, not a criminal case. The judge didn't buy it. Set bail at $50,000. Michael's firm posted it, probably because they didn't want the publicity of one of their employees sitting in jail. The preliminary hearing was in November. I was subpoenaed, had to testify again. Same questions, same answers, same cold feeling in my chest. Michael's lawyer tried to discredit me, suggested I was biased, that I was vengeful, that I was using the criminal justice system to punish my son for a family dispute. Lisa Harding objected. The judge sustained. "Ms. Wu, the defendant forged a signature. That's not a family dispute. That's a crime. Save your arguments for trial." The judge ruled there was sufficient evidence to proceed. Trial was set for January. Christmas was awful. We didn't have a tree, didn't send cards, didn't go to my sister's house for dinner. We just stayed home, ordered Chinese food, watched old movies, pretended it was a normal day. My brother called, asked how I was doing. I lied and said fine. He didn't believe me, but he didn't push. My sister didn't call. I wasn't surprised. She'd always been closer to Michael. Thought I was too hard on him, too demanding. She'd probably taken his side. That was fine. I didn't need her approval. Patricia gave me a sweater for Christmas. I gave her a necklace. We opened our presents on the couch, thanked each other, put them away, went to bed early. New Year's came and went. Same thing. Quiet, small. Just the two of us. January arrived cold and gray. The trial was set for the 15th. I spent the days leading up to it preparing, reviewing documents, going over my testimony with Lisa, trying to stay calm. Patricia was worried about me. I could tell. She kept asking if I was eating enough, sleeping enough, drinking too much coffee. I told her I was fine. She didn't believe me. Closing arguments started at 9. The courtroom was full, more people than before. Word had spread. Local news had picked it up. Father presses charges against son for forgery. It made for good headlines. Drama, betrayal, family destruction, all the things people loved to watch from a distance. Karen Wu went first. She stood in front of the jury and tried one last time to humanize Michael. She talked about the pressure of modern life, the cost of housing, the expectations placed on young people, the mistakes everyone makes. "Michael Brennan made a terrible decision," she said. "He forged a signature. That was wrong. He knows it was wrong. But think about why he did it. He was desperate. His wife was pressuring him. The bank was pressuring him. He'd already committed to buying the house. He thought his father had agreed to help, and when that help didn't come, he panicked. He didn't sit down and plot a crime. He just made a split-second decision that he immediately regretted." She paused, made eye contact with each juror. "This isn't a career criminal. This isn't someone who wakes up every day trying to hurt people. This is a scared young man who made one mistake, one terrible mistake, and now his father wants to send him to prison for it. Ask yourselves, is that justice or is that revenge? She sat down. Michael was staring at the table. He hadn't looked up once during her speech. Lisa Harding stood. She didn't walk to the jury box. She stayed at her table, spoke from there, calm, direct. Defense counsel wants you to feel sympathy for the defendant. That's her job. But sympathy doesn't erase facts, and the facts are simple. Michael Brennan forged his father's signature on a legal document. He submitted that document to a bank. He obtained a loan under false pretenses. That's fraud. That's forgery. And it's a crime. She pulled out the gift letter, held it up. This isn't a mistake. This isn't panic. This is premeditation. The defendant had to find this form, fill it out, sign his name, sign his father's name, submit it to the bank. Those are deliberate actions, not a split-second decision, not a moment of weakness, a series of choices. She put the letter down. Defense counsel asked if this is justice or revenge. I'll answer that. Justice is holding people accountable for their actions. Revenge is personal. This isn't personal. This is the law. The defendant broke the law. The evidence proves he broke the law, and the law requires consequences. She sat down. Judge Reeves gave the jury their instructions, explained the elements of fraud, the burden of proof, the definition of reasonable doubt. Then he sent them to deliberate. They were out for 6 hours. Patricia and I waited in the hallway. Virginia had gone back to her office. Lisa was in the courthouse cafeteria. We just sat on a bench near the courtroom door. Didn't talk, didn't read, just waited. At 4:30, the bailiff opened the door. They've reached a verdict. We filed back in. The courtroom filled up. Michael and Karen Wu sat at the defense table. Lisa took her seat at the prosecution table. Judge Reeves entered. Everyone stood, then sat. Has the jury reached a verdict? He asked. The foreman stood. An older man. The retired cop. He held a piece of paper. We have, Your Honor. What say you? In the matter of the state versus Michael Brennan, on the count of forgery, we find the defendant guilty. On the count of fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On the count of perjury, we find the defendant guilty. Michael's head dropped. Karen Wu put her hand on his shoulder. Emily, who I hadn't noticed before, started crying in the back row. Judge Reeves thanked the jury, dismissed them, looked at Michael. Mr. Brennan, you've been found guilty on all counts. I'm scheduling sentencing for 6 weeks from today. Until then, you'll remain out on bail. Bailiff, please escort the defendant. Michael stood, looked at me one more time. I looked back. There was no fear now, no anger, just emptiness. Like he'd finally realized what he'd lost. Everything. We left. Patricia held my arm. We walked through the crowd, past the reporters with their cameras and microphones, past the people staring, past Emily, who was sobbing into someone's shoulder. We got to the parking garage, climbed the stairs to the roof, got in the car, sat there. How do you feel? Patricia asked. I don't know. Are you glad it's over? It's not over. There's still sentencing. Are you going to attend? I thought about it. I don't know. We drove home. The sun was setting, orange light cutting through gray clouds. It would have been beautiful if I'd been paying attention, but I wasn't. I was just driving, going through the motions. That night, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered anyway. Dad? Michael. I almost hung up. Almost. But I didn't. Yeah. I just wanted to say, I don't know. Something. Okay. Silence. Long silence. I could hear him breathing. I'm sorry, he said finally. For what? For lying. For the forgery. For the lawsuit. For all of it. Okay. Is that all you're going to say? What do you want me to say? More silence. Then, I wanted you to help me. I know, but you wouldn't. No. Why? Because you didn't ask. You demanded. There's a difference. I was desperate. I know, but desperation doesn't justify fraud. I thought you loved me. That one hurt. I felt it in my chest. Sharp. Clean. I do love you, I said. Then why did you let them prosecute? Because love doesn't mean enabling. It means holding people accountable. He laughed. Bitter. Hollow. That's what you think love is? Accountability? Sometimes, yeah. You're going to let me go to prison. I'm not letting you do anything. You did this to yourself. I did this because you refused to help. No, you did this because you forged my signature. That was your choice, not mine. Silence again. I hope you can live with that, he said. I hope you can too. He hung up. Patricia had been listening from the kitchen doorway. She didn't say anything, just walked over and sat next to me on the couch. That was hard, she said. Yeah. Do you regret it? I don't know. Do you think you should have said something different? I don't know. Do you think he'll forgive you? I don't know. She put her head on my shoulder. We sat there for a long time. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like it's pressing down on you. I think you did the right thing, she said eventually. Everyone keeps saying that. Because it's true. Then why doesn't it feel true? Because the right thing is rarely the easy thing. I thought about that, wondered if she was right, wondered if there was such a thing as the right thing, or if we just told ourselves that to feel better about our choices. Sentencing was in March. 6 weeks later. I didn't plan to attend. Virginia said it wasn't necessary. Lisa said it was up to me. Patricia said she'd support whatever I decided. I decided not to go. But the day of sentencing, I couldn't stay home. I drove to the courthouse, parked in the garage, took the elevator to the 3rd floor, stood outside the courtroom. I didn't go in, I just stood there, listening. I could hear voices through the door. Karen Wu, Lisa, Judge Reeves, Michael. The door opened. A bailiff stepped out, saw me. You here for the Brennan sentencing? Sort of. It's almost over. Judge is about to rule. What's he going to say? Don't know, but it's not looking good for the defendant. He went back inside. I stayed in the hallway. The door closed, muffled voices. Then silence. Then the door opened again. People started filing out. Reporters, spectators, family members. Emily walked out, saw me, stopped. He got 3 years, she said. I didn't respond. 3 years. Because of you. Because of him. You could have stopped this. No, I couldn't. She stared at me. Mascara running again. Same as before, same anger, same desperation. I hope you're happy, she said. I'm not. Good. She walked away. I stood there, waiting. Finally, Michael came out, handcuffed, flanked by bailiffs. He saw me, stopped walking. The bailiffs looked at each other. One of them nodded. They stepped back, gave us space. Michael and I stood there, 5 feet apart. The hallway was empty now, just us. I didn't think you'd come, he said. Neither did I. What are you doing here? I don't know. He looked down at the handcuffs, then back at me. 3 years, he said. I heard. I'll lose everything. The house, my job. Emily's probably going to leave me. Probably. And you don't care. I didn't say that, but you don't. I thought about how to answer that, tried to find something true. I care, I said, but not the way you want me to. What does that mean? It means I'm not going to save you. You have to save yourself. He laughed, that same bitter laugh from the phone call. How am I supposed to do that? I don't know. Figure it out. The bailiff stepped forward. Time was up. We need to go, one of them said. Michael didn't move. He was staring at me, eyes wet, jaw tight. I hate you, he said. I know. I mean it. I know. They led him away, down the hallway, through a door. Gone. I stood there for a while. Then I walked to the parking garage, got in my car, drove home. Patricia was in the garden again, planting something new. I didn't ask what. How was it? She asked. He got 3 years. Are you okay? I don't know. She stood up, walked over, hugged me. I didn't hug back. I just stood there, let her hold me. It's over now, she said. Is it? The legal part is? What about the rest? I don't know. We went inside, made dinner, watched TV, went to bed, normal things. But nothing felt normal, and I didn't think it ever would again. The months after sentencing were strange, quiet, empty. We didn't talk about Michael, didn't talk about the trial, didn't talk about anything important. We just lived, day by day, 1 foot in front of the other. I got letters from him. From prison, 2 in the first month, then 1, then nothing. Patricia asked if I was going to respond. I said I didn't know. She didn't push. Emily filed for divorce 3 months after sentencing. I heard about it from my sister. She called to tell me. Said I should know. Said Emily was telling people I'd destroyed their marriage. Did you? My sister asked. No, Michael did. That's not what people are saying. I don't care what people are saying. She hung up. We haven't spoken since. My brother still calls. Once a month. Checks in, asks how I'm doing. I tell him I'm fine. He doesn't believe me, but he doesn't push either. He's a good brother. Time passed. Summer came, then fall, then winter again. A year since the toast, since the folder, since everything started. Patricia asked me one night if I had any regrets. About what? I asked. All of it. I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I said. I don't. Not even a little? Not even a little. Why not? Because I did what I had to do. And if you could go back, change something, would you? I thought about that too. Wondered if there was a moment where things could have gone differently, where I could have said yes, could have signed the paper, could have prevented all of this. No, I said. I wouldn't change anything. She nodded. Good. We never talked about it again. Michael was released early. Good behavior, 2 years instead of 3. I heard about it from Virginia. She called to let me know, asked if I wanted to do anything about it. I said no. Are you sure? She asked. Completely. He might contact you. He might. What will you do if he does? I don't know. I'll figure it out. She wished me luck, hung up. He never contacted me. I don't know where he is now, what he's doing, if he's working, if he's happy, if he's still angry. I don't know, and I'm not sure I want to know. Patricia says that's normal, that sometimes people just drift apart, that it doesn't mean you stop loving them, it just means you stop letting them hurt you. I think she's right. Life goes on. That's what people say, and it's true. Life does go on. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. You eat breakfast, you drink coffee, you plant tulips, you watch TV, you go to bed, you wake up, you do it again, and eventually the pain dulls, not gone, just duller, like a scar that's healed but still aches when it rains. I still think about Michael sometimes, wonder what he's doing, wonder if he thinks about me, wonder if he's learned anything, grown at all, become someone different. I hope he has, I really do. But I don't think about it often, there's no point. You can't fix people. You can only make sure they don't break you. Patricia and I are okay, better than okay. We talk more now, laugh more. We take trips, small ones, weekend getaways, places we've always wanted to see but never had time for. We're learning how to be happy again. It's harder than it sounds, but we're trying. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's all you can do. Try, survive, move forward, and hope that somewhere, in some version of the future, things work out the way they're supposed to. 2 years after Michael's release, I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Mr. Brennan? Yes. This is Janet Coburn. I'm a paralegal with Henderson and Marks. We represent your son, Michael. My stomach tightened. Okay. I'm calling to inform you that Mr. Brennan has filed a motion to set aside the civil judgment. He's also filed a complaint with the state bar regarding Virginia Pryor's conduct during the original trial. I sat down. Patricia was watching from the kitchen, concern spreading across her face. On what grounds? I asked. Ineffective assistance of counsel, prosecutorial misconduct, new evidence. What new evidence? I'm not at liberty to discuss that at this time. You'll receive formal notice within 5 business days. She hung up. I stared at the phone. Patricia came over. What is it? Michael's trying to overturn everything. Can he do that? I don't know. I called Virginia. She answered on the second ring. I already heard, she said. Got a call from the state bar this morning. What's happening? He's claiming I coerced you into prosecuting, that I had a personal vendetta against him, that I withheld exculpatory evidence. Did you? Of course not. This is desperation. He's probably run out of options and he's grasping at straws. What do we do? Nothing yet. Let them file their motions, let them make their claims, then we respond. This isn't going to go anywhere. But it did. The motion was filed a week later. 43 pages. Dense legal argument. Michael's new lawyers had done their homework. They alleged that Virginia had pressured me into pressing charges, that she'd deliberately withheld evidence that would have shown the gift letter was a misunderstanding, that she'd coached me to lie on the stand. None of it was true, but it was well argued. The hearing was set for May. Judge Ortega, who'd handled the civil case, recused herself, said she'd been too close to the original proceedings. A new judge was assigned. Robert Chen, young, early 40s, sharp reputation, unknown quantity. Virginia wasn't worried. "This is textbook," she said. "Convicted defendant tries to blame his lawyer. It almost never works." "Almost? It won't work here." The hearing lasted 2 days. Michael's lawyers presented their case, argued that the forgery had been a misunderstanding, that Michael had genuinely believed his father had authorized the gift letter, that Virginia had manufactured a criminal case out of a family dispute. They called witnesses. Emily, who'd apparently reconciled with Michael, testified that I'd been controlling and vindictive, that I'd refused to help out of spite, that Virginia had encouraged this behavior. They called a legal ethics expert who testified that Virginia's conduct had been troubling and potentially coercive. They called Michael. He was different now, thinner, harder. Prison had changed him. He spoke clearly, confidently, told a story about a father who'd made promises and then broken them, about a desperate son who'd made one mistake, about a vindictive prosecution driven by a lawyer with an agenda. It was a good performance, better than his trial testimony. Virginia's cross-examination was brutal. "Mr. Brennan, you testified that you believed your father had authorized the gift letter. Is that correct?" "Yes." "When did he authorize it?" "In February, at lunch." "What specifically did he say?" "He said he'd help us." "Those exact words?" "I'll help you." "Something like that." "Something like that. Not I'll give you money. Not I'll co-sign your loan. Not I'll provide a gift letter. Just I'll help you." "Yes." "And from that, you concluded you had permission to forge his signature on a legal document?" "I didn't think of it as forging. I thought I was just filling out paperwork he'd already agreed to." "Paperwork he'd already agreed to. Did he say, fill out a gift letter?" "No." "Did he say, sign my name?" "No." "Did he give you any document with his signature on it?" "No." "So you forged his signature. You admitted that under oath in your criminal trial. Are you now recanting that testimony?" Michael hesitated. "I was confused." "You were confused. Are you confused now?" "No." "So which testimony should we believe? The one where you admitted to forgery? Or this one where you claim it was a misunderstanding?" "I made a mistake." "Yes, you did. And now you're trying to blame everyone else for it." Virginia sat down. The courtroom was silent. Judge Chen called a recess. When we returned an hour later, he had his ruling ready. "I've reviewed the evidence, the testimony, the original transcripts, and I find no basis to set aside the criminal conviction or the civil judgment. Mr. Brennan's claims of ineffective assistance and prosecutorial misconduct are unsupported by the record. Motion denied." Michael's lawyers tried to argue. Judge Chen cut them off. "Counsel, your client admitted under oath to forging his father's signature. That admission alone is sufficient to support his conviction. Everything else is noise. Motion denied. This matter is closed." He banged the gavel. Michael stared at the table. Emily was crying. Again. Always crying. We left through the back exit this time. Virginia's suggestion. Avoid the confrontation, avoid the scene. But Michael was waiting by my car. Security hadn't stopped him. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't care. "You just can't let it go, can you?" he said. I stopped walking. Patricia held my arm tighter. "I didn't start this," I said. "You did. Today, 2 years ago. All of it. You destroyed my life. You destroyed your life. I just didn't stop you. That's the same thing." "No, it's not." He stepped closer. Not threatening, just closer. Like he needed me to understand. "I spent 2 years in prison because of you. You spent 2 years in prison because you committed fraud. I needed help. You needed to make better choices. I was desperate. I know. You keep saying that, like it's an excuse. It's a reason. It's not enough." He stared at me, eyes red, jaw tight. "I hate you," he said. "You've said that before. I mean it more now. I believe you." He turned and walked away. Emily followed. They disappeared into the parking garage. Patricia and I got in the car. She started the engine. We sat there for a moment. "Is it really over now?" she asked. "I hope so." We drove home. The sun was setting. Same orange light through gray clouds. Same beauty I couldn't quite appreciate. "Do you think he'll ever stop?" Patricia asked. "Stop what?" "Blaming you, hating you, trying to fight this." "I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Does it matter?" I thought about that. Did it matter? Michael could hate me for the rest of his life. Could blame me. Could try to overturn the verdict again and again. It didn't change what happened. Didn't change what he did. Didn't change the choices he made. "No," I said. "It doesn't matter." She nodded. Good. That night, I couldn't sleep. Again. I kept thinking about Michael, about the look on his face in the parking garage, about the hatred in his voice, about the fact that he'd spent 2 years in prison and learned nothing. Or maybe he had learned something. Maybe he'd learned that playing the victim worked, that people felt sorry for him, that if he told his story the right way, with the right emotion, he could make people believe I was the villain. Maybe that was the lesson. I got up, went to the kitchen, made coffee, sat at the table, the same table where this had all started, where Michael had brought the folder and demanded I sign. 4 years ago. 4 years since the toast. Patricia came downstairs, saw me sitting in the dark. "Can't sleep?" she asked. "No." She sat across from me. Same chair, same squeak. "What are you thinking about?" "Michael." "What about him?" "I'm trying to figure out if I could have done anything differently." "Could you have?" "I don't know. Maybe. Maybe if I'd been softer, more understanding. Maybe if I'd sat him down and explained why I couldn't sign. Maybe if I'd offered to help in a different way. Would it have mattered?" "I don't know." "You said you don't have any regrets." "I don't, but that doesn't mean I don't wonder." She reached across the table, took my hand. "You can't save people who don't want to be saved," she said. "You know that." "I know. Michael made his choices, you made yours. That's all there is." "Is it?" "Yes." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But part of me kept circling back, kept looking for the moment where things could have gone differently, where I could have said something, done something, fixed it before it broke. But there was no such moment. I knew that. Deep down, I knew that. Michael had been on this path long before the toast, long before the house, maybe his whole life, and nothing I could have done would have changed it. Sometimes people are just broken, and you can't fix broken people. You can only make sure they don't break you too. 3 months later, I got another call. Different paralegal, same firm. "Mr. Brennan, I'm calling to inform you that Michael Brennan has filed for bankruptcy. He's listed you as a creditor for the civil judgment." "What does that mean?" "It means he's trying to discharge the debt. If the bankruptcy court approves it, he won't owe you anything." "Can he do that?" "Possibly. It depends on the judge. We'll contest it, obviously. But there's a chance it could work." I thanked her, hung up, told Patricia. "So he might not have to pay," she said. "Looks like it." "How do you feel about that?" "I don't know. Tired, mostly." "Do you want to fight it?" "I don't know. Does it matter? He doesn't have any money anyway. Even if we win, we're not getting paid." "Then why fight?" "Principle?" She laughed. Not a mean laugh. Just tired. "Principle," she said. "That's what got us here in the first place." "I know." We didn't fight the bankruptcy. Let it go through. The debt was discharged. Michael owed me nothing. On paper, anyway. My brother called when he heard. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah. That's got to sting." "A little." "You going to let it go?" "What choice do I have?" "You could fight it, appeal, make his life hell." "I could. But why? What's the point? He's already in hell. I don't need to add to it." He was quiet for a moment. Then, "You're a better man than me." "I don't know about that." "I do. Most people would burn it all down. You're just walking away." "I'm not walking away. I'm just done fighting." "Same thing." "Maybe." We talked for a while longer, about nothing important, weather, sports, the usual stuff brothers talk about when they're avoiding the real conversation. Then he had to go. Said he'd call next month. He did. He always does. Life kept going. More time passed. Another year. Then another. Michael disappeared. No calls, no letters, no motions, no lawsuits. Just gone. I heard through my sister that he'd moved to another state. Texas, maybe. Or Arizona. She wasn't sure. Said he was working construction, living in a small apartment, single. Emily had remarried. Someone with money this time. Someone stable. I didn't ask for details. Didn't want them. Patricia and I kept living, kept moving forward. We sold the house eventually. Too many memories, too many ghosts. Bought a smaller place near the coast. Somewhere quiet, somewhere new. We're happy there, as happy as we can be. We don't talk about Michael. Don't think about him much. He's part of the past. And the past is a place you visit, not a place you live. Sometimes I wonder what he's doing. If he ever thinks about me. If he's learned anything. If he's become someone different. Someone better. But I don't wonder often. And when I do, I remind myself that it doesn't matter. His life is his life. Mine is mine. They used to overlap, now they don't. And that's okay. It has to be. Because the alternative is spending the rest of my life looking backward, wondering, regretting, wishing things had gone differently, and I'm done with that. I'm done with all of it. I did what I had to do. Made the choices I could live with, and if those choices cost me my son, then that's the price I paid. Some people would say it's too high a price, that nothing is worth losing your child over. Maybe they're right, maybe they're not. I don't know. I just know that I can still look at myself in the mirror, can still sleep at night, can still wake up in the morning and feel like the person staring back at me is someone I recognize. And for better or worse, that's enough. That has to be enough.